for you, Lav.
Oh, right. Do I have to also do it?
No.
Oh.
It's a friendship thing between me and Lav right now. Well done. Hello, and welcome back to Worlds Apart, your favorite bi-weekly world-building podcast. My name is Odinn. Diana, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. We better be your favorite. If not, I'll hear about it. And you don't want that.
We've been here like 3 weeks now. We're automatically the best.
Yeah.
We've done the work.
How many other people fuck around and like just go on complete tangents the way we do? This is a unique fucking podcast. No one else has this niche.
Do they?
No one else has this niche.
No one else has this niche.
No one. You've never heard of any other podcast ever. Don't go looking.
Please.
It's just us.
Just stay here. Stay with us. Come sit by the fire. Let's build a world together. You know? It's going to be great. Okay. So, Diana, how are we feeling today? What are we looking to do? What are you in the mood for?
I'm in the mood. I've been fucking frothing at the mouth to finish this goddamn episode because we were talking about the other audience. If you're not aware, first of all, if you're not aware, go watch the other episodes. But we have created a primordial earth god, a primordial earth titan that has slammed its hand into the ground of our world and created 6, technically, if you include the palm, different mountains that all correspond to different specialties. And we world built all of them, except for the magic school, which is arguably a treasure trove of world building.
And I'm so excited, dude.
So we were gearing up for this episode, and we were like talking about we were on Pinterest, and we were like, oh my god, wouldn't it be cool if Odin was like, shut up, save it for the podcast.
Yep. This is the most difficult thing about recording a podcast is Diane and I would shoot random messages to each other or like images or whatever of cool concepts for a world. And then we have to wait like a week to talk about it. So it's
write it down.
So it's fresh off the dome. And it's, because that's one thing we want this to be. We want this to be the entire world building experience where everything is just rambling until it makes sense. Who needs a plan? Not us.
No. I've never planned anything in my life. Oh, God. So we need a name for this mountain. And then from there, we're going to dive into the aspects of the magic school that resides on it. So, name-wise, do you want a letter again? Are we doing this again?
Well, do we want to stick to the theme of mountain/rock? Or is the Academy its own entity of sorts?
I feel like the Academy would pretend to be its own entity. Okay. In the same way where it's like, hey, we technically reside on your land, Sundial Mountains, and we exist under your infrastructure. And we've got all your people, so our culture matches yours. But also, if we wanted to crush these mountains into the ground, we could.
Okay.
So I feel like it'd take the same naming convention because it's coming from the same culture. Everyone in it is from some other part of the mountains.
Okay. This is the, I think we briefly touched on this last episode. They do welcome outside people to come and study.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that could be where the whole, we're better than you-esque headspace comes from. Because they're welcoming in outside nations.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be messing with their heads. Because if they're communicating with outside governments and all that kind of stuff and being promised these things, 100% they're going to be like, we're better than this. So,
yeah. The cross-culturalness of it. They're going to have exposure to things, even not more so than the mountain that we had, the Middle Finger Mountain that was the Selmia, what's this?
Yes, Selmia.
The trade mountain, but they would still have almost like a filter of just oh yeah, all of your powerful people who decide to just not study at home are going to study abroad here specifically. This is the place to be. So yeah, I think it would still...
I guess the more powerful figures would go there, especially those who are delving into arcane.
Yeah. And who have a historical aspect to it, especially because it's so ancient, right? It's primordial. Yeah. It's if you want to get to the closest you can to raw magic and raw power, it's the place to do it.
well, we mentioned there's like a font of magic or something in there, right?
Yes, yeah.
So we can delve into that a little bit later this episode too and figure out what exactly that is.
Ley lines.
Yeah. God, magic is really cool.
Magic is so cool. We opened a can of worms here, chat.
We have. I am so excited for this. Okay, name wise. So we need Mia on the end of it to tap into the mountain and the tradition and the respect of the Sundial range. Do we just want to make it something simple along the lines of like arcane or like Mia or
Arcamia, maybe?
Academia?
Academia, we're just like we just go full circle.
Yep, 100%. Okay. What are some
Minmia? Like full on like books? Maybe
not bad.
Storage of information. But even then, they wouldn't rely on books so much as they think of like
I need my fidget toy for this.
We're getting serious here, Chad.
We are locking in. Okay. There could be a bunch of stuff we can name this after. So like we don't have to lock it down to like a rock like we've been doing for other things. So if we're leaning towards more of a arcane-esque kind of magic, we could tap into the more ancient primordial, if especially they have a font of magic. So like Rumia, as in rune. What else do we have? What are some elements of magic? It's like sigils.
Sigils.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what is some like?
Signia probably is not the way to go, though.
No. No, we're gonna hard turn away from that. Big time away. Okay. Arcane elements. All right. Well, let's figure out some basics so we can get a bit of an idea. Is this thing at the base of the mountain, middle of the mountain, top of the mountain? What do you want this thing to be?
Oh, I feel like
because depending on how big you want it to be and how big we want this mountain to be, is it throughout the entire fucking mountain, or is it secluded to a certain area?
I think it would be a mountain that's pretty almost like a cylinder because it's got roughly the same width. It's almost like a wizard's tower, but inside of a rock sheath. So that way, if some, problem occurred, something got summoned that was weird, or maybe there was like some issue with a new student who didn't know how to control their powers and didn't actually, needed to be imprisoned, if not sent to somewhere else.
Okay.
Then it would be contained somewhat by the rock. And so maybe it's whatever this school is, it's at least somewhat, if not mostly, underground inside the mountain.
Okay. Question. If you're wanting to talk about like containment in a sense, in a sort of things, is there, because I think it's in multiple games, even video game stuff, lead is like a barrier for magic, especially divine. So if we want to like contain things, is the like outside of this fucking mountain like covered in lead?
I think it would be, but I think they wouldn't tell anyone that.
Okay, and let the higher ups know.
Yeah, something where it's like, hey, this is our contingency plan that no one knows about, that we haven't told anyone about, and if we told someone, they would just plan ways around it. But until then,
that means no one would be able to like scry or look into the mountain either. Everything in there is locked down. They would need someone on the inside.
Yeah, yes. Their divination magic would be trained on other students or, consensually and things like that. And they wouldn't actually know, like their first exposure to divination magic and seeking magic outside of the mountain would be after they graduate. Yeah. Or if they go on like exchange trips or whatever.
All divination-esque magic could be taught outside grounds as well. Like they step outside the mountain.
Maybe that's just like a subject they don't deal with much.
Or there's a separate building for divination magic outside. Okay.
Good shit.
So we have a containment. What else is under this mountain?
We talked at one point outside of this recording, because we're horrible people and we started talking about shit outside of the recording. I'm sorry,
Yes.
audience, about the concept of gems being a focus for magic.
Yeah.
So maybe this mountain inherently has a really strong mining population or like series of people who cater specifically to the magic school in creating these foci, these wands that are tipped with gems, these like crowns or gems embedded in people's foreheads or other parts of their bodies, especially if they're primordians. Things like that would be an incredibly huge part of their economy.
100%. This could also be a huge aesthetic thing character-wise as well, because like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be just one stone embedded. It could be a sleeve of gems, or it could be you could Thanos the fuck out of it and just have your Infinity Stones on your knuckles. You could
Oh,
have different points of your body holding these gems that inherently give you arcane abilities, and
can
this
you
taps
imagine?
into. Go on.
I was gonna say like every vertebra has a different fucking like gemstone.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Oh,
So
that
cool.
would be awesome. And then tapping into that, if you didn't want a gem embedded, it could be. I know this is in so many games these days, but tattoos. They could specialize in a magical essence of tattoos that uh, sort of melt down components into the tattoos itself. I used to have a character who used chalk as his uh, material, but what he would do is whenever he was camping, he would melt down his chalk and place the material components into his chalk. And once it hardened and reshaped, it would be embedded into the chalk. So when he drew into the
Ooh.
air, it carved it out of it. So the material is still being utilized, but it looked a lot more aesthetically pleasing.
Damn. Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, I love chalk casters, but
Yeah.
also material-based magic is so good on
Mhm.
every level.
It is. It's if described correctly and like with such emphasis, it's one of the coolest things to witness at any D&D table is someone just go crazy on descriptions when it comes to
Mhm.
casting magic. I love it.
Oh, so good. Okay. The name of the mountain, though.
Oh yeah, true. That's right. Okay.
So
Well,
I
if
looked
you-
up the oh my god, the alchemical like symbol for lead, and it's PB, which does not lend itself super well to a name. But if that
Does it-
helps at all,
Do we have to seclude ourselves to one word?
no, that's just the
'Cause we-
starting
we-
point. Fucking
'cause we've been-
go off.
Because if we want to do PB, it could be the first word is P, second word is B.
Oh, for the mountain. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Because mountain, like schools specifically, can have like prestigious names. So like Pinnacle, since this thing's in a mountain, it's something like that.
Okay. So, ooh, Pinnacle, Prime, fucking Power.
P is a hard word.
P is hard. There's too many options.
There is.
Hmm.
Okay. We could tap into the gemstone side of things if we wanted to. Rather than a rock, it could be more specifically gem or crystal.
Yeah.
So, what would you define as a crystal or a gem that is like that you see arcane revolve around? What's like the first gem or crystal that pops into your mind when you think of magic?
Me, quartz, usually.
Quartz.
But I think of quartz is like the same way that Wiccans think of quartz as an amplifier for normal magic, where it's like the most basic. It's the equivalent of salt, almost. And,
Okay.
you just add it to everything. Either that or, oh man, something like obsidian as like a. I think of gemstones in the same way that I think of blood types, where there's some that are like universal donors and some that are universal receivers.
Okay.
You know?
I kind of like the idea of quartz, if I'm honest, because it's transparent. It's
Yeah.
clear. It's
It's like glass.
kind of. And if this school is putting on this front of being like this all welcoming thing, when it's actually like
Oh,
a place where they're like, okay, we need to make sure that no one knows what's going on inside these walls except our students.
False glass.
False glass. Stained glass, if you will.
So this entire building probably has stained glass absolutely everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's got quartz embedded into it that is protective in a way.
They could
And they
combine the quartz and
claim
the
it's
lead.
from magic getting out.
Yes.
But it's really from magic getting in.
Yeah.
And seeing what they're actually up to.
If they lined the mountain with quartz as like a ritual to keep magic in, but along with the quartz, they poured lead
Yeah.
as a cover story. It's just, yeah, dude, 100%.
Oh, man.
Okay. What
Okay.
are we going to call it, though?
Ah, fuck! Names are hard!
They are, dude. Fuck. Quartz fucking school of quartz Mia.
the school of quartzism, I guess.
School of rocks and magic. How about we come back to the name? Because I feel like we're getting stuck on this.
Yeah, we'll deal
and
with that later.
We can circle back and we can sort of like let us build this out first and see if we can make up something from it.
Mhm.
So, where do you want to start? So we have the idea that this mountain is a dome-esque shape, I believe.
Something
Yep.
along the lines of like a cylindrical almost, but there would be some sort of dome or something at the top where people can, especially the higher ups in the schools like systems, would be able to keep an eye on, in theory, everything outside of the hand, but
Okay.
in reality, things within it as well.
Do you mean like a I forget what they're called. Like the space stations.
An
where
observatory.
that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something like that at the top of the mountain.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
that
Oh,
a-
100%.
Is that like a handmade thing?
I think so.
Okay.
Well, like, are you talking about like as soon as the hand slammed down, it like hand?
Oh no, I'm talking about like they moved into this mountain and then realized they wanted an observatory, so they
Yeah.
created this like dome thing at the top of it.
I think so. And then
Yeah?
that would be like one of the only places where the lead didn't exist.
Okay.
So that way it was mostly quartz, so they could amplify their divination out. And sure, people could divine in, but at the same time, like they made extra sure that nothing incriminating was happening in that topmost layer.
Okay.
And they pretended to be very transparent about their, goings on. But they were keeping an eye on things like, not only the rest of the hands, but also outside kingdoms that were coming in. And then also the air primordial descendants, because it points right at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would have the backing of the rest of the kingdom and the financial motivation to build an
Okay.
observatory and stay powerful and stay divining. Yeah.
What is this dome made out of? Is it made out of the quartz and stained glass and stuff?
I think so, unless you have a better idea of maybe a quartz infused glass.
That might be an idea. The thought of a beautifully designed stained glass dome at the top of this mountain
Right.
is kind of badass.
Goes hard. Yeah.
So made of quartz stained glass is what we want to go with? Okay. Quartz stained glass. How the fuck do you spell quartz? For you. There we go.
Welcome to Worlds Apart. We know how to spell things.
We do. I
Definitely.
have no idea. I'm winging it. All right. Okay. So we have the top of this mountain built. We have this quartz stained glass dome where higher ups, like headmasters and head teachers and all that kind of stuff, I guess, meets, or is that their living quarters? I guess.
I feel like it'd have to be, because if someone can see into it through divination magic, I feel like it'd be a false meeting place.
Mhm.
Where, and this is just getting more and more sinister as I go along, where they pretend to have their meetings up at some cabinet at the top there, but they have a pre-set out agenda of things that they are willing to talk about, like the economy of the rest of the tower and things like that, like local goings on that they share with each other, small talk, gossip, and then
It's
they
like-
go one layer below that's covered by lead, and then they talk about the actual shit.
It's like their boardroom, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they have visitors from other cities and stuff, since they welcome people from outside nations,
They take
go
them
to
straight there.
they take him to the beautifully crafted stained glass dome with all the pretty lights and colors and everything going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's more serious things, they lead him below.
Yeah. Yes. And maybe the room below is like so small. It's like kind of short almost in stature. So that way you can almost pass it off as like an issue with the elevator, you know, where it's like, or whatever their ye old elevator is. So it's like, oh, you know, architecturally, I guess unless you looked at the fucking blueprints, you wouldn't really notice that it was there.
Okay.
It's like a half level.
That'd be such an intimidating fucking place to be too. Like these all-powerful mages shoving you into this small room, being like, "So listen."
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, like, okay, perfect. Hidden room for interrogations or general secrecy. Okay, so by the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like we have a single headmaster. It sounds like it might be a council of mages or something.
I think so. I think, which then asks the question, how are this council divided? Is it just like a series of people who are, for the most part, like, just really prestigious overall in the school? Or are they heads of certain sub-departments?
I feel like each should have some sort of title. Something they lord over, if you will. For example, one of them could be like a descendant of what was our
a descendant of like
descendant of Cato.
Oh.
So like they have that bloodline. So they're like given that place of power while others had to earn it. So this descendant of Cato could be like not really revered, but more, we gotta put up with this guy. He was handed this when we all worked for it.
Which would then contribute more to the idea of that descendant, because it would then be like a matriarchy or a patriarchy, basically be royalty within the mage school. So then that would contribute to them thinking they're better than everyone else and contributing to their own secrecy.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So we can run with that ideal. As for the others, how many do we want on this council?
Oh God.
What's a solid, just so we have like a base ground, what's a solid number?
5?
5?
So they can say that it mimics the fingers on Cato's hand.
Perfect. That's fucking bang on. So 5 council members running the school.
Mm-hmm. Which means, would they? How would they be determined? Are they also like related to the headmaster? Is it all just like a familial thing, or are they chosen by the headmaster, or is it a merit-based thing?
Remember, we have a font of magic here connected to Cato.
True. Yes.
So maybe there's a trial where like you touch whatever essence of Cato is there, and if you aren't shot back across the room, or if you can handle the power or something, it's like you're worthy enough to take stand in the council.
So it's almost divine, but not really, because it's like primordial-ish. So it's like the chosen of Cato.
Kind of, but do you remember how we said elements are kind of chaotic?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be, you are worthy and chosen. This is more like, you hold enough chaos or good to hold this power. How people perceive that or use that is up to you.
Oh.
So we don't have this righteous, like, for Cato and all Cato kind of vibe on the council. It's like, I got here because I'm powerful. Do not underestimate me.
Interesting.
That kind of vibe.
I love that system too, because that means that some random student could come up one day, touch the font, and then not get fucking knocked off their feet. And then everyone it throws the school into upheaval. They're like, oh, if you're chosen, you're an asshole. What do you mean you're a chosen Akata? Like,
because that would be an awesome fucking storyline for a player character too.
Yes, yeah.
They snuck in and touched this relic and withstood it, but were like shunned by the council.
Damn.
saying you're too young. You're not. This was a fluke. You like
Mm-hmm.
yada yada yada. Because would that mean if someone touched it and was powerful and held it, would they replace someone?
Yeah. Like, how strict are the numbers? I imagine they would be pretty strict, and then whoever was, maybe it wouldn't even be by certain niches or anything like that. You know, you would have 5 council members and they'd all start sweating.
Yeah.
And they knew that this child was going to overturn one of them, but they didn't know how. Almost Strings of Fate style. They were like, oh, it's going to happen at some point. One of us is going to like fucking die or lose our powers or something.
Or it's always been 5 and this, why is there now a 6th?
Yeah.
That kind of change. Because change is scary. Okay. So Cato relinquishes power, I guess?
Yeah.
What would you describe it? Is he giving them power, or is he saying you're worthy? What's the vibe?
For an Earth primordial, I feel like he would be. I feel like he'd be sharing the true insights of how to use Earth-based power.
Okay.
Like, it's something that's so ancient and so difficult to comprehend, and so at the same time permeating through everything that we do, that it's inherently really difficult, or it takes a lot of study to be able to master. And he's like, here's a shortcut. Like, I like you here.
Okay.
Have the secrets, have the codex, have the cheat code, have the cipher.
Okay. So Cato chooses those worthy.
And they
those
almost get
he
to take
deems.
shortcuts. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming this font of power is like locked the fuck away. Like behind lock and door, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, students would be throwing themselves at it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What do we want this font of power to be?
Like, physically what it looks like?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like having a fountain would be too much attribution to the primordial of water.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like an
obelisk?
An obelisk would be good. Some like substance. Would it also be quartz? Or obsidian? Or something else? Or all gems naturally forming?
That would actually be... It could be cool to see, like, a sheet of rock of, like, multiple rocks with, like, certain ley lines flowing through them constantly.
Yeah.
Like, connecting all the rocks together, or just, like, gems embedded naturally into this rock with kind of like a logo. How it has that arcane line wrapping around it in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of aesthetic do you want?
I think an arcane line wrapping around a bunch of different gems makes sense. And I think if the gems were scattered across a otherwise like clear or obsidian background. So maybe it's like a cave that you have to walk through. And if you survive and can make it through without turning around through some psychic force or the sheer power of the crushing weight of Earth primordial power, then you do okay. But until it's like walking through like one of those,
like a gauntlet,
kind of, but less like direct and around. Yeah, have you ever walked through those like shark tunnels in an aquarium?
Yes.
Same vibe, but instead of a shark, it's
a giant titan.
Yeah, Kato's right there, fist up. He's like,
if you flinch, you're done. Like,
but like the tunnel around you is made of obsidian with like gemstones of all varieties connected with ley lines and
so it's
glowing like constellations.
It's an overwhelming sense of power down there.
Yes.
Like a crushing weight, like you mentioned.
Like gravity, yeah.
Yeah. Further you walk in, the heavier it gets. And if you make it to the center, you can stand upright and you're fine.
And if not, they have to send someone after you.
Yeah, like a super simple test. You just have to walk to the center. Don't fall down.
Good shit.
Fuck yeah. That's so simple yet so badass. What the fuck? I'll just call it Gemstone Chamber for now. Gemstone Chamber for worthy... What's the word I'm looking for? Worthy applicants. I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are the applicants? This is really cool. I love magic. Magic is so cool.
Magic is so fun.
I love how our past couple of recordings have been like super like jokey and fun and mucking around. We are so serious right now
We're so
about this
fucking
shit.
locked in.
Like this is just this is the idea. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So for the lore and the history of it, just so we know, this mountain has been here since Cato raised it. Someone came along, found this obelisk, and founded the school on top of it after time. Over the centuries, years, whatever we want to call it, whatever present day we're up to, there have always been 5 council members running the school. One specifically being a direct descendant of Cato.
Yeah.
The bloodline. The way a council member is chosen is to walk through the gemstone chamber and to be decided worthy by Cato. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And this mountain is covered in quartz, which is secretly also melded with lead, so that all divination or magic of any peering or piercing kind is expelled. No one knows what's going on in the inside unless you are there or have been there.
Mm-hmm.
This is our school. Dear God. We are We're making a monster, and I don't even know who it is yet. But there's someone bad here, isn't there?
So there are several people. There are people who have been rejected by the fucking like tunnel. There have been people who are curious about the concept of the lead, who want to like punch a hole through it just to fucking have free in the name of freedom. There's, I don't know. You get angsty teenagers who are just discovering there's magic abilities and shove them in a mountain, see what happens. It's not going to go well.
Again, I think we've mentioned this in every episode now, or I have anyway. Our potential first ever BBEG, this element of the 2 elements, what if he tried to push in? Like, what would happen?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. So
Or if he, like, took the gems and fucking embedded them into himself.
Yeah. I didn't even think about what would happen if the gems were removed.
Yeah. Bad things.
Okay.
Okay, this school is going to be a fucking nightmare for players.
This school's going to be a problem.
Yep. We've made our first big problem.
Ugh.
Okay. All right, so we've got the kind of layout of everything. So we have the blood relative of Cato. Let's figure out the council.
Okay.
Blood relative. Do we want to break it into like teachers of certain magic schools? Do we want to break it into more, for lack of a better word, hobbies, or like what's the word I'm looking for? Skills. So like you mentioned herbalists and potion makers, alchemists is what I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to break it into like the head of alchemy, the head of spells, the head of scrolls, all that kind of stuff? Like, what's the kind of vibe do you want?
Oh, I think so, 100%. Because, like, especially when it comes to earth magic, like, herbalism is going to be a big part of it. Runic magic might be another massive part of it because it's the nature of carving runes into certain types of stones and things like that.
Yes.
So I think those, if anything, might be the large pillars.
Okay.
And then from there, I don't know what the others should be. No, what were you going to say? Go for it. What is it?
The council is called the Pillars.
Yes! Yeah!
They're the Pillars. Okay, sorry. I just caught that. Anyway.
No, that's so good.
So they're called the Pillars. Got you.
Uh-huh.
Carry on. As you were.
Oh, man, I have no further. I got totally derailed by pillars and like thinking about how they could each have like a little teeny little like necklace or like something on them that represents the quote unquote pillar that they represent, or maybe some type of stone that they wear most frequently. My mind went in so many different directions.
But hey, we got a name for the council, the Pillars. That's a fucking entity right there. That's terrifying.
That's a fucking That's so
We
cute.
must consult the pillars. The fucking what?
Yeah.
Like- Okay. So we had the pillars. Who are the pillars? The blood relative of Cato.
We have the blood relative of Cato. Do you want to give him a name? Are we doing names?
But would it be offensive if the blood relative of Cato was called Cato?
Ooh, maybe it's like a thing that everyone who's related to Cato does in order to like further assert in modern culture within the Sundial Mountains that they are in fact descended from Cato, and it's like a point of pride. So they all intentionally have at least a K in their name, but for the most part they might say like Cato's son in first generations, and then like, you know, some other suffix in further generations, or they
What
include
about
Cato.
What about Toka?
Toka would be good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like one of those like Toka the Third, you know, like full on
Yeah.
like, yeah, my
It will
dad
this
was
is a
named
bloodline.
Toka.
Absolutely. Just to rearrange the words of Cato.
Yeah. I like
So-
that.
What did I call him again?
Toka?
Toka, thank you. I fully just lost my train of thought for a second then. Alright, so Toka, the blood relative of Cato.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, there's one. Who else have we got?
The rest are hard. Do they have first names and last names? How are we thinking about this culture's naming systems?
Well, it depends. Do we have outside nations who have been chosen to be on the council recently?
That's a good question. Would outsiders? I mean, there's a good influx of outsiders into the kingdom and into the magic school, so it would make sense that at least one of them becomes one of the pillars.
Yeah. Because I'm assuming, do we want to say, for brevity's sake, and like, because there's always been 5 council members, well, there's always been 5 pillars. Do we want to say another pillar isn't sought after until one passes?
So it's like a one is gone and all of a sudden the position's open type thing.
Kind of, yeah. Or the pillar himself can hand it off, or gain an apprentice who they think is worthy of taking their place when they step down.
Interesting. So maybe there's different systems. So if it's like one dies, then you have to be chosen by, you know, the path, by the tunnel. But if they can hand it off willingly, what's to keep them from doing it under duress? Does it just like not work?
Why wouldn't it?
So someone could come up and threaten one of the members of the pillars and just be like, "Hey, give me your power."
Yeah.
And if they're reasonably powerful enough, they could, like full on
Yeah.
Kung Fu Panda Dragon Scroll style. They can
Yeah.
try.
Because we could say that the pillars are the only ones who who can gain access to the chamber.
Yeah. And maybe it's like at gunpoint, like I can't make it through the chamber alone, but if you walk with me, I can make it. And
Yeah.
therefore, then everyone will think I did it myself.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even have to be like a threatening thing. It could be that one of the pillars has found an apprentice, and when they're getting to a certain age where they're old or decrepit, or they know they're losing it, they could be like, "It is now time for you to take my place. Go
Yeah.
prove it, or show me that I've wasted my time."
Mm-hmm.
So it
Oh,
could
I
be
like
a
this.
it could be a rite of passage. It could be an apprenticeship thing. It could be, I guess, just a pick of a litter. If one of the pillars sees a student that's like, "You, I like you.
I like
They
your
can train."
vibe, kid.
Yeah. Or it could be them trying to hand off their ideals and their plans to someone that they know in this lifetime they can
Yeah.
complete.
Oh, which could go very evil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I love systems like this.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, so the pillars, there's always been 5 pillars. It is able to be handed off, or they are replaced when one passes. Yes?
Mhm.
Okay, beautiful. That is good to know.
That puts in like side tangent, right? If someone gets kidnapped or is presumed dead and a bunch of people start trying to go down the pit, like the hallway, and they can't make it, and like no one is being succeeded for like several years, and the rest of the pillars are like, seriously, what's happening? Like, why haven't we had a successor yet?
Yeah.
And they find out it's because the old pillar hasn't actually died. They're just captured and given some sort of false life.
Yep.
Or they use the divination magic against them and the divination protections, and they're in a lead coffin somewhere.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, Go.
There's so many elements we could add to it. Oh, okay. So we have the pillars. We still don't know who they are. But okay. I like that structure though. Do we want to try and figure out the pillars themselves now, or do we want to keep building out the school a little bit more? What are you leaning towards?
There's 5 of them.
Yep.
Is it 5 including the descendant of Cato,
Yes.
or 5 and then? Okay, so in that case,
We have 4 left.
other. Like, what do they represent? We already talked about herbalism and runes.
Okay,
The
so we'll
other
write that
2?
down. Herbalism.
Herbalism. If you're Australian and
Herb.
wrong.
Sorry. Herbalism. Runes.
We're gonna have an herbalism episode of Worlds Apart, where we're just gonna like world build a fuck ton of plants and
Dude,
like,
I'm so down for
fruits
that.
and shit. Well, I was gonna say we'll like walk in the cold open, we'll us be just like hitting a blunt, and then we'll be like, all right, welcome to Worlds Apart, ladies and gents.
Really?
Neither of us smoke, just to make it abundantly clear.
Okay. So we got the blood relative, herbalism.
Mhm.
We have runes. Do we just want to go basic arcane? So one who is like really connected in a sense. I'm trying to think of how to describe it a bit better, sorry. Whether it's like divine chosen in a sense, or the divine, like a seer of sorts.
Yeah, but like, so a divination type person who is, but how would that have an earth spin? I mean, it doesn't have to also. It could just be like someone who just happens to be really good at like things like reading tea leaves and like casting bones and things like that
Yeah.
style of like divination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, yeah.
That's like
that'd be
that
sick.
could be like an old, like the old magic, if you will.
Yeah. Or like reading fossils and determining, like full on, like almost like in a way that they study the history of mankind and try and interpret it for the
A
future.
lore keeper.
A lore keeper.
Yeah.
They're best at like identifying magics and like a mix of divination and arcane. Anything that has to do with raw power.
Yes, our lore keeper, 100%. So we have blood relative, herbalism, rune, lore keeper, and take it away, Diana.
Fuck. Do you think? Well, we already said Gallimancy is like outlawed.
Did we?
We did, because then any artificial recreation of the Primordians would be like
Yes.
an affront to the gods.
Yes.
But would summoning also be an affront to the gods?
Like conjuration magic?
Like conjuration magic from other planes that had to do with specifically, you know, in a certain sense, like, like,
What you
no,
got?
I was going to say like poisons and alchemy and things like that, but that would kind of fall in with herbalism, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would fall into herbalism a bit.
Maybe.
Okay. So we have our lore keeper who covers like identification, lore, history, all that kind of stuff. We have our rune leader who's more connected to primordial-esque things.
Mm-hmm. Full on
have
like taking raw magic and channeling it into
Yes.
useful forms.
We have our herbalist who deals with potions, brewing. Would herbalism more tap into the like the rune stones and all that kind of stuff? Or would that be runic, do you reckon?
I think
'Cause
that'd be runic.
Yeah, that'd be runic.
Yeah.
Trying to think, what other aspects? What about
I feel like protection magic?
protection or collector?
Collector.
Collector of magical items from all over the world.
That would fall into rune lore keeper,
You reckon? Okay.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, you're probably right. Keeper of things, yeah. I feel like the lore keeper is going to be my favorite of the council.
The lore keeper is gonna be fucking slap.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so good.
They're all powerful in my mind.
Mhm.
Okay. What? Okay, you're a wizard.
Okay.
What aspects of magic most intrigue you? What do you
I
want
mean,
to...
there's like healing magic, but that falls under alchemy. There's identifying magic, which falls under rune keepers. There's traps, which also falls under uh lore keeping, runes, and alchemy. Mostly runes, honestly, I would say.
What about cartographer?
Navigation.
Navigation, connecting ley lines beneath the earth, finding if there's
Oh.
elements of Cato elsewhere.
So that would that almost be like messaging magic?
Kind of. I feel like it would be... I don't think it's divination, because this is... Divination to me is you're already connected to divine. This is more...
Seeking.
Seeking.
Interesting. Okay. So you consider divination to be more like it already exists, we know it exists, we're just finding it. This is more
This could be our outside nation. This could be someone who's been like, if you welcome me in, if I can be part of the council, since you guys have been subjugated to this space, I'm the one with the connections on the outside. I can find things that you haven't had the chance to look for outside of the sundial. This could be their... I guess their messenger, or their... What's the word I'm looking for? The one everyone goes to.
the advisor.
The advisor.
So someone who has multicultural knowledge as opposed
Yes.
to just is being stuck in with the earth people.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah? Because that
And
would
then
be...
that would be like the problematic like school when it comes to people trying to fuck around with other elements that aren't
Yeah.
earth and creating those issues. They're like the influx of other magic schools.
Exactly. It also gives us the opportunity to outward reach outside of the sundial as well. Because while they welcome other students in from the outside, they don't really have anyone going out.
Yeah.
But if this pillar is constantly reaching out to other kingdoms, constantly reaching out to other continents, I mean, like, we have discovered this. We are searching for this. I have found remnants on this on your continent. Can we come to you?
Can we have this?
Gib now. That kind of...
Give. Yeah.
But the one who goes and talks to the royals and talks politics and all that kind of stuff. The advisor.
So it's almost like a mix between divination, seeking, and like multiculturalism, and also oration, and almost like what we consider if you're playing D&D bardic aspects, where it's like manipulation.
Yes.
And I love that. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like someone I can correlate it to. You haven't seen Lord of the Rings, have you?
No.
Okay.
Why you gotta out me like this?
So-
Every single time I join a podcast, I get outed as stuff I haven't seen.
Dude. you having not seen Lord of the Rings just means you haven't been able to experience yet, and we will change that. It will be fine.
I do get a lot of jealousy for not. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, you get to experience it for the first time," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I'll definitely do that."
But the thing is, you might not enjoy it, and that is also okay. It's wrong, but it's okay.
Okay, all right. Well,
But there's a character in there who sort of advises a king, and he is a rat, basically. So I don't know if you've ever seen the meme, but
wait, hold on. Was Lord of the Rings Ratatouille before Ratatouille existed?
no, not that kind of rat.
Oh,
Like, this is a person. He's just equivalent of a rat.
just a guy, just some dude.
Yeah, but he whispers into the king's ears, like, you don't want to do this. This is ridiculous. He manipulates his way into essentially ruling without being the king.
Oh, I love that. So they make really good advisors. And they do it under the guise of having really strong like ability to correlate with other nations and divination and things like that. And then like, as opposed to having the ancient knowledge, it's like future thinking versus past thinking.
Exactly. They're the modern day while they're working with the past.
That's so good. I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. So we have our advisor as well. He doesn't necessarily have to teach. He's more of just the social side of things.
Mm-hmm. He
Okay.
watches and he pulls strings.
He is manipulative as fuck, and we love him. Them, her. We'll decide. Okay, so we have our blood relative, we have our herbalist, we have our rune keeper, we have our law keeper, and we have our advisor.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5, baby. We did it.
The hand.
The hand of the pillars. Okay. Do we want to try names, or do we want to build out the school a little bit more? Because we've got the quartz stained glass dome, and then we've got like the secret little room, and then we have nothing.
That's true. We could. I mean, I feel like if all of the pillars had their own way and they had enough sway in the school, then they would each have levels within the mountain dedicated to their teachings, perhaps.
Okay. And I'm assuming these are like gigantic floors being built into the mountain.
Like several floors, if not like chunks, basically, dedicated to them.
Okay.
Segments.
And do you want each kind of segment to be dedicated to the type of magic or studies that the councilmen rule under or rule over? Sorry.
Oh, right. Is that too basic?
I mean, it doesn't have to be. It's a ley line, if you will, because for the advisor, they could be studying like politics, and it'd be really interesting to see like Primordians take study under the advisor, and Primordians begin to reach out and look to outside of the sundial and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Our lawkeeper could be just this archive of tomes and magical items and paper and ink fucking everywhere of just notes upon notes, and the people studying that can tap into multiple different classes of anything, because I feel like, using a D&D terminology, a rogue could study under the lawkeeper easily.
One of those like mastermind type rogues.
Or inquisitive, or even scout would be phenomenal for lawkeeper.
Battle tactics.
Exactly. The rune could tap into your wizard or sorcerer. You could be born into it through sorcerer in your blood. And then herbalism, that could be for the more alchemy side of things. People who might just be like a fighter or a barbarian, but can take interest in potion making and all that kind of stuff, which would lead to us having an entire episode dedicated to making plants and materials.
Oh no, we have to make biotic substances. Yeah. Oh man.
Do you know how much Lav, our editor, lovely lady by the way, would love us talking about plants for an hour?
I'll do it.
I know you will.
Lav, give me a fucking let me know. I'll fucking derail every single episode between here and the end of the goddamn season into talking about plants. I'll do it.
I believe you, just so you know, because I know you will. But I don't think the idea of having segments and each pillar honing over one of these areas is basic. I think it can be very intricate.
Yeah, especially when you get into like the physical locations between them, where it's like, okay, well, like the library it's smack dab in the middle of the lore keepers one, and there are certain farms and herbalism workshops smack dab in the center of the herbalist ones. But then in the areas between them, there are little rooms here and there dedicated to people who are developing arcane inks and papers and things like that. Using new types of plant material. The overlap has so much potential.
Yeah, absolutely. The dedicated segments, absolutely. But like you mentioned, everyone is zip zap zippity bopping through this place constantly. So it's an amalgamation of endless possibilities and certain combustions of some elements going boom because someone knocked the wrong thing into the wrong thing. Yeah. So, okay, so that would mean there's 5 levels to this mountain.
Mhm.
And then what's underneath the mountain?
Oh,
Because
are
if
we
well, I
are we
mean,
going the
if
gemstones route?
yeah, do we want to put the chamber at the bottom of the mountain?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so that chamber is located at the bottom of the mountain. How, like, is there something protecting it? Is it locked away? Is it holding something in? Like, where do you want to run with this? Because we have every option.
I think. Oh, this is hard.
Mm-hmm. This whole school's been a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be.
I know it's so easy to get like the finer things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like how magic looks underneath certain
Yeah.
users, and the flavor of it is so easy. The actual structure and mechanics behind it is hard, especially the politics. Oh
I know.
my god!
Like,
Ugh.
before this episode started, we were fucking static. We were hyped. We were bouncing off the walls, frothing at the mouth to talk about the stuff. This entire like, out of every episode we've recorded, this is the most chill we've been because we're
fucking locked in.
like, we are focused right now. So
I think we put. Are we talking about like the chamber that we made prior?
yes, so that's the chamber. The chamber you walk through to be worthy to become a pillar.
I think it's like a forbidden chamber,
Yeah.
if anything. Like,
Okay.
maybe people aren't told that it exists, but it's very heavily protected if you just happen to wander down there. Like, it's equivalent to being told that there's a boiler room at the end of your high school hallway, and then you go there and you're like, oh shit, this is where the teachers hang out? Like, this is the teacher lounge? They just don't want to be bothered.
Gotcha.
So it's secret, especially because if people knew about it, it'd be a target. You'd be able to dismantle the entire school system if people blew it up.
So what happens to those who trial and fail?
That's a good point, because they wouldn't want the secret getting out. Maybe that's where you get into memory manipulation.
Ooh. I feel like Lawkeeper would take care of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They like take that memory and lock it away somewhere, so that way you have no idea you even tried.
Yeah. Ooh, this is dark. This school is This is
bad. Getting so dark,
this
bad.
This is bad school, bad. Like, okay. So that chamber is secret, locked away. Those who trial and fail, their memories are wiped of it.
Mm-hmm.
And is it literally, do we just want to have it as that simple task of make it to the center? And it's just a crushing weight coming over you as you're getting closer?
Maybe when you get closer, you reach the obelisk itself the mountain was built around.
Mm-hmm.
And then what does it do when you reach it? Does it speak to you in Cato's voice? Does it like impart the knowledge of the specific like predecessors of the pillars that you are working under and looking to replace?
I feel like it would be a connection to Cato.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be a chat with a Titan. Or just like, do you know in like movies where the person touches the forbidden thing and this expulsion of light just overcomes them and there's just waves of knowledge, voices, sounds, everything going through them? I feel like that might be it.
Where it's like generations of rock knowledge, generations of knowledge embedded in fossils and in the primordials and all that, just like impart on you at once.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
But is it the same knowledge, like no matter what pillar you're looking to be, or is it different?
I think that depends on what you're seeking. So everyone's different.
Interesting.
So
oh, that's good.
So when the advisor, for example, like touched the obelisk, maybe he saw glimpses of other places where Cato is over the world.
Oh, yeah.
When the Lawkeeper touched it, they saw artifacts buried deep, deep, deep within the earth, or artifacts that were hidden away, some of the most powerful things in this world. They saw events long forgotten that only they remember now.
Mm-hmm.
The blood relative, I feel like he would I feel like he would talk to Kato. That would be a secret conversation that only a blood relative would ever know. And then your runic one, maybe they get access to a portion of Kato's power and can like carve runes into the sky of sorts and cast their magic through that, or have better connection to primordial powers. And then what do you reckon the herbalism one would look like?
I imagine it would be something similar to, in the way that like modern scientists have like GMOs. You know, it's like, okay, well, here are some potential interactions between plants that you can utilize, or potential soils that might be useful for this particular plant, or like plants that you haven't heard of from across the world, almost in the same way that the like the emissary one, the emissary pillar, got information from other continents and other countries. Maybe the herbalist is getting information from other parts of the world that are unexplored or explored that they could bring back to the college.
Ooh, that's cool.
Start to cultivate.
Yeah. I think if each pillar has a different experience due to what they're seeking or the knowledge they want, that would give them the edge over another pillar, which is essentially what all council members want. They want to be the one, I'd imagine.
Yeah. So they have like checks and balances just based off the fact that they all know different things.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So whether they like it or not, if someone comes to them like, I need help in this field, they're like, let's go talk to the lawkeeper. Because they genuinely have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Huh.
So whether they like it or not, they need each other. They don't essentially want each other, but they need each other.
But the entire mountain is a powder keg, and then no one else knows about it because they're so secretive, and they're lined by fucking lead so that no one else would know and be able to exploit their weaknesses that only they know about.
Exactly.
Amongst each other. Oh, this is good.
Yeah.
This is so good. This is tense.
Yeah. We've built a structure that is filled with many, many political, non-political, and war-based storylines, I'd say.
Yeah. Like maybe the descendant of Cato just has information on the other primordials that, you know, Cato has developed over a long time. Yeah. Yep. Oh.
Jesus.
So what's a mountain called?
Fuck. Okay. The mountain is called...
We're so... It's the hardest part, chat. Naming something is the worst fucking thing when it comes to being a world builder.
Dude. Holy shit.
I'm not good at this. No one's good at this.
Bet I can... There's someone listening right now that like is just screaming, just name it! And then they just drop the best name and we're just not clicking.
Put it in the comments, assholes.
What would you call this school? Tell us. We want to know because we have no fucking idea. Okay. I feel like... Do we want to revolve it around... What if we just revolve it around the pillars?
Like the concept of a pillar?
Kind of. Like... How do I put this? A unified group that gain knowledge and power from a certain place. It's like a... Kind of like... I guess sage-esque? Or...
Like an advisor? Like a consult? So I was Googling terms like the term consult, column, you know, same vibe. So like...
This is probably the most difficult name that we've come across so far.
We could do so many different directions, and that was intentional because it's a school of magic. You do like a billion things with it. A magister.
Fuck! I don't know. Like, I'm genuinely stumped. I cannot think of a name for the life of me.
I can just throw out names.
Yeah, go for it. See what we can fucking catch.
It has to end in Mia because it's a mountain. For those who haven't watched the other episodes, you should. Every mountain in the Sundial Mountains ends with MIA as a suffix to denote that it's a mountain. It's a term of respect, term of endearment, and it relates back to Cato and Katamia, which is the Palm Mountain. For this one, oh man, oh god, this is hard. Magmia? Magic? That's too obvious. Pretoria?
It's really on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah. What letter have we not used? We haven't used P. I feel like P would be good. Potamia?
Potamia? Maybe?
Like potential power. Lacerbia? But that means like Lacertus means arm, vigor, strength, though. So it's a little less magic, more like physicality.
What's the Latin word for arcanium?
Arcane.
Arcane or arcanium, something.
Just translates to arcane. It's
Damn it.
There's another one for like concealment that is called reconditus? Recondimia? Which means hidden, concealed, profound, arcane.
Nothing's just like standing out. Everything else we've like said a name for it, like we've known the second we've heard it. This one, everything that comes across, nothing's sticking, and I don't know why.
You do venemia, which means venomous, but not quite magic related.
What is some like? I'm trying to think of like, what are like mythology names for like kingdoms and schools?
Like circles of magic and things like that?
Kind of, I guess. Let me double check something.
We could also do obemia for obelisk.
That's not a bad idea. Obemia. Is there a rock or a gem that has multiple gemstones in it? Mineral. Minmia.
Minmia. So like minerals, mining.
Minmia.
I'm cool with that. I like that.
The school of Minmia.
Minmia. Would the school... Yeah.
Don't ask that question.
Sorry.
If you're gonna say,
we'll do it next time. We're out of time.
Were you about to say, would the school be called that? Is that
yes.
what God damn it!
All right. Thank you for listening to Worlds Apart, everyone. Oh, Jesus fucking
Diana, where can they find you?
Hi, I'm Diana Faye. I'm also known as Diana the Rose, a tabletop gaming content creator. I'm on all platforms, including YouTube, oh my god, TikTok for as long as it lasts, Instagram, Facebook nowadays because they're paying me, Twitch, where I stream 3 times a week, and I'm at Diana the Rose on all of those platforms. Odin, tell them where they can harass you.
You guys can find me anywhere on all social medias. Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. I think that's all of them. I don't really do anything.
All 3 of them.
YouTube!
Yes.
But you can find me at Odin_Sun. You can mainly find me doing D&D stuff. I also love Pokemon, whether it's shiny hunting, pack openings, or just general playing of Pokemon. But if you're not looking for that, you can find us at Worlds Apart TTRPG on all platforms, including YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Mastodon. Though I am not sure what that last one is. That's an American
Mastodon's
thing.
a little iffy. We'll probably drop that one.
Fair enough.
Blue Sky seems to be winning. Honestly.
It does. It's doing well. But you can find us on all those platforms, maybe for some little bonus content, little clips, little tidbits of information, or just word vomiting that either of us come up with. Mm-hmm. But we will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Diana, any last words?
Save us, please. I don't want to have to come up with this magic school name.
We'll figure it out.
See you guys next time.
Bye.